Hello, I'm Luke, and today I want to take our conversation, or our last conversation we had, a little further. And the question that I have for you comes from the idea of looking at what is our collective purpose and coming up with the idea that it is around building spiritual faculties. Now, people have many different views on this, and it's been amazing, and I love engaging in this conversation. But going off of what I kind of had learned there in terms of, or had brought myself to in terms of building spiritual faculty, I kind of want to look at, well, how do you build spiritual faculty? How do you go beyond that? What does that even kind of mean? And I started looking at, well, there's got to be some, like when you sow a seed and you plant it and then you want to add some nutrients to it, there's got to be nutrients that we do on a daily basis that kind of helps towards building those spiritual faculties. And the one thing that came to mind, and the one thing that I've been looking at here, and I found some really cool text around, is around kindness. Now, there's this horrible misperception in let's say in the Western world, and I'm sure it's across all of the world, that kindness equals weakness. And I think it is what breaks us. I think it is what creates people, or makes people want to create this reality where they think they need to be big, tough, and strong by not being kind. And I actually think that kindness, very subtly, is far stronger than anything else that we have. But don't just let me tell you this. What I've done is I'm doing a little bit of research and trying to find, what does spiritual text tell us about kindness? And then what does maybe a bit of science and the world around us say? So one quote I want to share with you, which is one of my favorite quotes that I've heard, is quite popular, I guess you can say, in terms of Baha'i faith across their writings. And it's from Baha'u'llah, from the Epistle to the Son of the Wolf, and it is, "A kindly tongue is the lodestone of the hearts of men." And this really resonates with me because from the outset it sounds kind of a little bit high level. I guess it kind of sounds nice as a saying to be kind, but once we break it down, there's so much depth to these words that it almost reinforces this notion of why kindness matters, and again, why it's a nutrient for us. So a kindly tongue, so to be kind, we can all kind of agree on what that is, and if you don't know what kindness is, maybe Google it. But to be kind, but to have a kindly tongue, what does that mean? Well, a tongue is it's not how we say words. Words don't come from our tongue, but it certainly is a way in which we form the words, the noises that come out, that create these existing words and meanings. So if we are having a conversation and our tongue is what we're using to form it, it's just a really nice analogy to kind of say a kindly tongue, because that is where we hold that power. It's also, if you think back to different ways that we speak about, lashing out with your tongue, and it's something that we use. It's quite common in terms of across the language. So here he said, a kindly tongue is a lodestone for the hearts of men. Now, what's a lodestone? Well, I also had to have a look at that one too, because I don't quite use that often. But a lodestone is that of a natural magnet. So putting it together, the power of these words is saying, not just speak kindly, but a kindly tongue, a kindness in the way in which we form our words, is a natural magnet, an attraction of the hearts of men. For me, that is so profound, and it speaks of how kindness is a way in which we not only present ourselves to the world, but a way in which we pull and draw people in. I mean, think about it yourself. Think about your own experiences, right? You go through life and you have moments, you've got your friends and your family and everyone around you. What makes you feel better? Being yelled at, or being spoken to poorly, being undermined, being ridiculed, even just that sense of passive aggressiveness? Or if someone sits with you and they're still offering words that might be a little difficult to take on, but they're even choosing to do that with kindness. Or better yet, they're offering to you how fantastic you are and what wonderful things that you do, and looking at the positives, and by offering that kindness, they're almost tending to a part in you that allows for that kindness to come out in yourself. And another important aspect that I always think of is the kindness that we offer to ourselves. I, for one, that is one of my biggest learnings, is how to be kind to myself, how to speak kindly. So many people on the outset might think something of you, but you're the one who goes to bed at night, and maybe you lay there and you speak to yourself and you tell yourself and you berate yourself around what is right and what is wrong. If we want to take it to a scientific perspective, because for me, our own human experience kind of I don't know, for me says that it holds some power over what we're aiming to achieve here. But scientifically, I mean, there's been different studies, like one, for instance, the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which was first advanced in 1929 and has continued on since then. But it's around the structure of a language determines a native speaker's perception and categorization of experience. So in this scientific hypothesis alone, they're saying that the way in which we structure our language determines our perception and experience. So not only does it matter to ourselves, but also that structure, and I'm using structure specifically because that's what we've said here, kindly tongue, the way we form our words. This structure matters. And we're seeing it across science, and we're seeing it across spiritual text, and we're seeing it within our own experience. So for me, my question again is to you, to people out there, what is kindness and why does it matter? For me, it matters because it is what shapes our experience, and it's what I believe we need to be able to take hold of and master if we're wanting to build on those spiritual faculties in this lifetime. Please tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear them, and comment, message, send them through, and let's see what everyone's view is on kindness.